you for joining the session. It is my pleasure to introduce Alistair and Mpho as our next presenters. They do excellent instructional design work at the University of Pretoria, and they're also part of the award-winning team, recently recognized by Anthology, and achieving an award for a Catalyst Award for Training and Professional Development. Sorry, I was trying to remember that. Mpho and Alistair are presenting on quality assurance in online education. Over to you, colleagues.
Okay, thank you so much, Lindeni. We chose to share our application, so I'm going to share my screen now.
Mpho, if you could just do me a favor and turn your cam, then I can grab your picture, if you don't mind.
Awesome. So I don't know if the lighting is fine. This is us.
Yeah, that's good.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's good.
Thank you so much.
Perfect. Colleagues, you may share the application. You have about 10 minutes for the research paper presentation, and then we'll have a short question and answer session at the end.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. Can you confirm if you're seeing our screen?
Perfect. Thank you.
That we offer lecturers at the University of Pretoria. So just to give you recently upgraded from ClickUp. We call Blackboard our instance ClickUp. So we are transitioning in phases to Blackboard Ultra. And within the Ultra environment, there is a new feature that is the AI Design Assistant. So we sat down and asked ourselves the following: does AI add value, and does it save time? Additionally, does it improve on the quality? And we asked ourselves how we can make use or implement it in such a way that it will not only help to change, but at the same time improve the teaching and learning at the university. So we sat down and evaluated these tools within ClickUp Ultra. So what we have seen is that often the AI is marketed as being innovative, and it tends to be overhyped in terms of the actual impact. So the question is, in terms of the evaluation of these tools relating to our specific context that we find ourselves, whether South Africans out-based education system. So there is currently no evaluation in relation to alignment with us. So the tools may not necessarily align well with the objectives of the national qualification frameworks, and this leads to potential gaps in addressing our educational needs. So we sat down in starting beginning of October 2023, when the first AI Design Assistant was introduced. So we looked at the current usability in terms of the end product that was enabled within the system, and we looked at the adaptation as well as the quality assurance time the time that will take us in order to make sure that when we introduce it, will it help in enhancing productivity, and will everyone see value in it? Does it fit with the outcome-based education as well as the higher education qualification sub-framework? Also with the Bloom's taxonomy that we so encourage our lecturers to align their outcomes, make sure that their outcomes meet those taxonomies. So this was in relation to the program, the module, as well as degree outcomes. And we didn't look necessarily only at the prompt,
Anna, can you just
because the hype
on?
is around the prompting that is often the focus, but we wanted to focus more on the settings, the additional settings that you will see later on that are available with the AI design assistant tools. So as I mentioned, the focus was on the settings as well as the result of the generated, be it rubric or discussion board. And also we wanted to see the specific usability within our context, not only in South Africa, but also at the university and also at individual cases where lecturers find themselves in different fields. So these are the current design assistant features that are available within Ultra. And the rubric there is highlighted because that was the first that we introduced in our training. In addition to those, to the rubric, there's course structure suggestions, we have discussion board generation, journal generation, and the new one is the AI conversation that was introduced this month that we've also started to incorporate in our training. So this is just a screen cap of what this will look like if you auto-generate the journal, for example. So there by the description, it's where normally the prompt will come in, or you can select based on a course item if you build your course already. So the focus is usually on the prompt, but we feel that the focus should be on the settings that include the cognitive level as well as the complexity. Alistair will take it from here.
Right. We all know the Bloom's taxonomy, which is the cognitive level. So I'm not going to go through that, but basically the understanding and then building, applying, and analyzing the value, creating on top of that. When we go to the computer and the program which we're using, we will see the default is Inspire Me, which means it can be on any one of those levels, which doesn't really link in with the levels of the outcomes. So we make sure that when we do training, we rekindle the knowledge regarding Bloom's taxonomy and the cognitive level. And also this is basically upside down because applying is not the highest level. So if you just look at the model, but that can be addressed, but you need to be sensitive to that. If we look at the higher education qualification sub-framework, we'll see that there are 10 levels. And for South Africans, this is old news. Undergraduate qualification falls from level 5 to 7, and then postgraduate is 8 to 10. However, we all see that our course code don't always agree with N2F level. Some institutions have adapted, but with us, some of the course codes are not adapted there yet. So we need to make our lecturers, because the lecturers do most of the selection and the programming and the creating of the online material, to make them sensitive of what fits in where. And then to confuse matters even more, we will see that on the left-hand side is the HEQSF level from 5 to 10, with an academic level put in there. But if we look into Ultra's complexity level, after research, we found out that although there may be 10 levels, the levels are not the same as what is expected from us. So level 5 and level 6 on the HEQ SF level, meaning your first and second years are actually level 7s, and level 7 and 8 on our scale is actually 10 on 8 on theirs, and 9 and 10 is the same. So if a lecturer is not sensitive to this, they might just look at the levels, count the number of ticks, and then their questions or the activities are based on the wrong level. So this is just how it looks inside it. So you can count the number of ticks. Also, what is irritating here is that because in the American system, it's the levels are not that important. There's no number which indicates it. So the lecturer's got to count the ticks from the highest or the lowest to get the complexity level correct. In our training focus with moving to Ultra, we've already had 10 massive training sessions. We've had about 2,000 people through these 10 sessions. Up to this point in time, was basically not 10 sessions, 10 weeks of sessions. And in each week, we have 5 different focus areas in which we train. And the engagement, which is in the middle there, we are introducing 3 design assistants to set up journals, to set up discussions. And the latest one is AI conversations. At the moment, only the Socratic method is available. And the date we first implemented it, for example, the journals we started as an activity in June this year. In June, the AI discussions was a bonus activity. That means if you finished earlier doing the training, our training is based on theory and applications. If you finish with the activity fast, now in October, the 1 sessions which we are busy, we only started it, the same with the AI conversations. In assessment, you can see that rubrics we already introduced last year in November, and AI question formulation was basically a discussion point in April, and later on the lecturers started applying it in later training. So this just gives you an idea, and you will see later that these dates also pull through. Drawing some statistics, what's the proportion of courses using AI design assistant at this point in time is roughly about 15%, which is great that it's slow. What is also great is if we look at which of the different course items are created with AI, we will see that it's mostly the rubric. And discussions, yes, we started doing it. The latest training, which we did during this week, was not yet captured on the system for the analysis for this diagram. So it's great that the guys use it for a rubric, and you will see later why we say this. When we look at the surveys of the training, now this was only a question which was included late in June, only in one of the training sessions. What is your intention to use the AI? A number of small percentage is not usable for the module. Most of the people indicated 65% that they will investigate it, and some of them, a small percentage, 33%, said that they will definitely use it, which is great for gradual adaptation and also for testing in a wider setup so we can get feedback from practical testing situations. Maybe just one thing, by using it, lecturers say that it's nice not to start with a blank page, and that's specifically the rubric. If you use 5 criteria on 5 levels, you've got 25 cells which you've got to populate, and if you use the AI correctly, at least there's something inside there and you can work with it. In our training also, after the creation, we take the lecturers through a process whereby they adapt, not just in terms of quality assurance, but they also adapt the content in terms of readability and actionability, depending on what the tool is. Right, so in conclusion, if you want to use AI features, and specifically here it's the design assistant, the quality of the prompts do play a role, but also just as important is the cognitive levels of the aligned outcomes and assessment criteria. The complexity glider also plays a role. And then importantly, once you have an output, is that it's reviewed for suitability and accuracy and bias and other issues. And that is done before this information is set loose on the students themselves. And the next steps which we are aiming at is to a gradual build up and take up of more lecturers, but we are actually glad that it's not running wild, so the people were not using the tools, and specifically the module creation works just with content. There's no space where you can really put in the module outcomes or things like that, which is important in the South African situation when you create the startup. We need to do post-training follow-up, because with the introduction of AI, there's also change processes that happens in the department. And what we realized is that sometimes it's the younger, newer lecturers who take up the new technology and they need assistance to implement it in the wider department because of the resistance. Also, we need more empirical research on the actual usage inside the modules. We know that our training might skew the uptake data at this point in time, and then we need a continual reevaluation of new updates of the AI design assistance. Specifically with the AI conversation, we know that role play is coming and maybe a debate function is coming. So although we've introduced it, those we introduced specifically with the emphasis that the lecturers must see if they can use it so that we can get some feedback. We know the tool is still very raw and we would like a lot of improvements before it becomes really usable. Right, and as reference, this is basically the whole training team, because if you look at Dolph there, he did some of the stats to us. Only Unti did the feedback surveys, is her problem, and many of the people helped to develop the different diagrams which we used during this presentation. Okay, so that is a short and fast presentation. Thank you. Are there any questions? We're going to stop sharing now.
Thank you so much, colleagues. This was really informative, and I think you've helped some of us establish a very clear link between the AI tools in Blackboard, the HEQSF, the cognitive levels, the MQF levels, those kinds of things. Very interesting things to think about. Sorry, I can't seem to share my video now, but I hope you can still hear me. Any questions? You're welcome to type in the chat, share your audio to maybe ask Alesta and Paul. Nothing. Anyone? Okay. Yeah, thanks again, colleagues. So for the insights that you've shared with us, to the participants, please remember to enter the lucky draws and join us in Kumu Space for the closing this afternoon. The links will be in this chat, and they are also available on the program. Please join the next session by clicking the relevant link on the live program. Thank you once again, Paul and Alesta.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.